Hello friends, and welcome to a Clean With Me video, and this one is a special one because it's all around cleaning my little car. So basically we borrowed this car a couple of years ago when we had to sell our car because of something that we call ULEZ in London. So I live in Greater London, and ULEZ stands for Ultra Low Emission Zone, and essentially it's a way to get rid of diesel cars. And so because ours was a year out of date, basically we had to sell our favorite family car that we did pay off, that basically worked fine still. It's just if we did keep it, we would have to pay, I think it was around the £60 mark a day. So I don't know, that sounds a bit steep actually, so maybe it was a little bit lower than that. But either way, imagine having a car that you've paid off, that basically that you absolutely love, works well, was reliable, you know, lots of space within. We had a Honda Civic and it looked good as well. We maintained it, and then be told to basically we have to either pay money every single day for using it due to it producing too many fumes, or basically having to get rid of it. And it was a sad moment. However, going back to this car, we actually managed to borrow this car from a relative, and basically making use of a car that wouldn't be used otherwise. So it's nice, and we're so grateful to have been able to basically borrow a little car whilst we were able to sort out and decide what like family car and what else are we going to go for. So basically for a year and a half, this was my long-winded way of explaining why we've got two cars and one small one like this one. And basically for a year and a half we used this little car, and it really did the trick. It wasn't great on the motorways, but it really did help us get around, and we are so grateful for it. And now it's time for me to clean it up, to make sure that the next family member that uses it actually doesn't mind it so much. And because you can imagine, because basically I've got a 5-year-old who was 3 and 4, we had so much, you know, so many snacks and so much food in here and dirt, and we didn't maintain it. You can imagine how, no, you don't have to imagine, you can see how dirty and disgusting and filthy it got, right? So basically this is my job. It's around like cleaning it up. It's basically my thank you. I basically sorted out the tires for the car already. So, and I think it was the air conditioning as well. So basically the bits that I could do, I basically sorted out, and this is the final stretch, in the sense that once I clean this is now going to my dad-in-law. So a huge thank you for being able to use it, and I hope that basically cleaning it up, whether it's like food crumbs or just dirt, we also used it for, like, you know, rubbish dump runs, you know. So if you would have seen my Get It All Done With Me's, then you would see me using this car. So it's basically a farewell. This video just is a goodbye to this car, but I'm so glad to have been able to use it and also clean it up as well for that next person. So there we go. We don't quite know what's happening with this car. We don't know whether we're going to sell it or whether, like, my sister-in-law's going to use it, but basically it's just good to be able to restore it back to its mostly original condition. So yeah, here we go. I've basically used the Hoover as the first step to take up any crumbs and get rid of any grit and dirt and, you know, anything that I saw that needed to basically go. This is like the step before I ended up getting a bucket and water and basically just giving it a good old wipe down. And the thing is, it's been on our drive for about 6 months without us actually using it, so mould has started to develop as well during the winter. So it was good to firstly hoover anything up, and then as I said, will start washing the seats as well as other bits internally. So in terms of external, I actually want to ask my husband to wash it fully, whether to take it, to the car wash or to do it manually with my son, who will find it really fun. So basically then we can part ways with it whilst we use the other big car that we managed to get. So essentially, as you can see on the right hand side, we've actually got loads of like building works going on. So a lot of the main reason that prompted this, like, we didn't mind it actually sitting on the drive, although like petrol cars like for it to be used. But yeah, basically we started building works for the extension, if you haven't heard, and that is one of the reasons why we're basically giving it back. And yeah, so I did a really good job, like lots of elbow grease, lots of hard work, and I was really happy with the finished product. So you will see me hoovering lots and lots and then washing it lots and lots. So I'll leave you with some really fun music. I hope that this gives you motivation to basically sort out your cars. Don't forget them. Do it every 6 months, maybe more if you can. And yeah, basically this is a reminder that it can be fun as well. We can do it together. Just stick this on in the background and let's get things done. So here we are. Well, I've hoovered lots and lots, and I'm yet to basically wash like the seats and the interior. I do some of the outside as well. I did ask my husband to wash the outside of the car before we give it back as well, so that is TBC. And basically it's looking a lot better. I know that there's still some marks left, but actually I am just so glad with how it turned out. Actually I wish I got to it sooner, but you know, it's one of those things where you like put it off and put it off, but it is time, and I hope that this gives you motivation to do something that you've been putting off around your house as well, or maybe like your car too. Basically, I on the whole used Henry the Hoover, which I'd highly recommend. I plugged it into the garage and it's just so easy to move about, but also I've changed the bag recently as well within the Henry the Hoover. I've had it for like probably a decade now, and it's still going strong. It does really well with grit as well. We did lose like the extensions to the Hoover, but even without all of those, it actually picks up the grit really well, and you can get to like really small spaces as well. So Henry the Hoover is probably a must for me. So I can't wait to be able to use the garage properly again, and to actually organise it and have Henry the Hoover to be a staple in the garage too. But also, not only did I use like a cloth and some water and fairy liquid, I also recommend just using like a vinegar with some water. That does really well as well. But actually I also used a scrub, so this one we don't really use, so I thought actually I'll put it to good use and scrub down the car with it. You would have also seen me use earlier one of those like rollers that are perfect for getting fur off of like carpets, but it's also really good for inside of the car as well. And you can see how filthy the car is. Basically got a bucket and some water, and I did get into the grooves of the car, because I know that even when we wash the outside it probably won't get into these sections, so I did clean up here and there. I also did the mirrors, like there was so many cobwebs on there too. So all in all, I think as long as you have like the right tools available to you, you can really do a really good job just by putting your heart and soul into it. So essentially, I hope that you guys find this useful. Thank you for keeping me company, and I hope that you like the rest of this video as well.